Today I actually don't have Amalia with me. It's going to be just myself. And for those individuals that won't be able to make it to the webinar, I'll just record it and hopefully they can review it. So we do have some good information this week. Lots of different changes. As a matter of fact, there was a Google update as well last week, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So let's just, without any further ado, while people continue to join. We'll have our latest news and articles, and I have a study on the most expensive states for paid search in the U.S. Hopefully next week we'll be able to have something on other countries as we do a little bit more research. So we'll talk a little bit about that and so the correlation of different factors that affect the cost per click in across the board in the U.S. And then we'll have a section for questions. The next thing so to begin, sorry, let's start with one of the things that just happened last week. I believe it happened on the 19th. And that was an update from Google, which what they call a core search algorithm update. Now they did confirm that this algorithm update was not a panda or a penguin or an HTTPS related. So none of these different updates are related to the last one that just happened. They did say that this is a core search algorithm that they do, I guess, frequently, or these are things that happen on a weekly, monthly basis. However, Google did not confirm to what extent this update will have an effect on the website. So Gary Ilias from Google actually didn't comment on it when he was asked by Dr. Pete, who's also a well-known SEO specialist. And right now, Google has just confirmed that the update happened, but nothing major, no real data from Google in regards to what this is going to be affecting or any feedback from them. So there's no comment so far. However, moving to the next story very quickly, which is related, according to Search Engine Land, a report last week on the update, they've actually realized that the algorithm update that happened did have a positive effect or a benefit to news and magazine websites. Okay. And what they noticed was that news and magazine websites were actually ranking better, and they had a lift in ranking across the board, which in relation would have also a lift in the traffic as well. So according to Marcus Stover from Search Metrics, they actually did a deeper dive into what was happening on the update, and the data show that newsworthy content received a boost with this update. So as you can see right now in this slide, this is where you see the SEO visibility increase for some of these sites. So for example, WSJ, which is the Wall Street Journal, and USA Today. Well, first of all, Wall Street Journal, they received a 19% increase in change in regarding to rankings overall, as well as when you look at sites like NBCnews.com, right? So definitely it looks like these news related websites like the LA Times, like the NY Post, like TechCrunch, Biz Journals, all of these sites actually got a very good lift in, or they benefited from the rankings perspective. Okay, so that's what so far has been reported in regards to this last Google update. We'll be able to probably see some further trends in the next weeks as more data and more analysis is done by many of the SEO specialists out there that really enjoy doing this type of work. So, but for now, as far as the update and its effect, it only affected news sites. Okay. However, if you have a site that has been positively or negatively affected by the newswire, then you know what. By this new update, feel free to connect with us, and perhaps we can kind of give you our feedback based on a top level analysis that we can do. But this is what has happened so far. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to share with you was in regards to Bing. And they did also another refresher, and this refresher was in their video search. as you know, Bing's trying very hard to definitely focus on improving user experience, user ability. And now what they've done is they actually included a number of things to improve or upgrade their search experience. One of the things that they've done is adding larger thumbnail images, additional information for each video result, as well as what they call moving related search inlines with the original search. So I'm going to actually share with you a screenshot of that. And the whole goal for Bing to to do this refresh on the new layout is to offer an easier and faster video search experience. Okay, so you can see that there's within the channel you're able to upload data and view count details for each video. So just give me a quick second, and I'm gonna go to my screen here, and I'm gonna share with you. Just give me a quick second here. Just bring it up for everybody to see here. Okay, so for example, right now, as I added this new term, Funky Town, on Bing.com under videos, you can see that obviously there's more information related. Everything is centralized, right? So you have the length, the date, the resolution, source, all these different search options that you have now with Bing Videos feature and module, right? And you have related artists, which are videos pulled out of YouTube as well. So a lot of information being pulled out of the YouTube channel, and as well as Vimeo. So it's pulling information from Vimeo as well. So that's and as well from what. So they are pulling information from different areas and providing the user more variety. So anyhow, that's something that they've done right now with their video channel. Okay, so and you can do a bit of a preview. And this is, for example, is just a cover an actual album that was called Funky Town. So primarily, what I've seen based on my brief analysis of this is just really for videos and for mainly impacting music. So that's very interesting that they've actually done that. Excellent. So moving forward, just gonna move here. Like for example, they actually talked about this one for Uptown Funk. It's primarily, if I can see, it's not happening everywhere, but it's happening primarily in the U.S. Right now. These changes that they've made into their video search. Excellent. The other great news, I think, is very positive, and also a very helpful tool that we at ALM use a lot, specifically when we're doing any research on competitors, any research for any presentations for clients. And this is Google Trends. They are actually have done a bit of an update on their quite a bit of an update on their website. And as you know, Google Trends was actually rolled out in 2012. And since 2012, they've kind of kept it the same. But with this new rollout that happened last week, they actually include real-time data and a new redesigned homepage, which is easier to navigate, to browse. And this update includes, like I said, minute by minute real-time data. They're also integrating YouTube and Google News data in order to determine trending topics. So they're feeding more information into Google Trends, and now you can start seeing not only just searches, but also in regards to searches on Google.com, but also searches and trends in YouTube videos, right? And also Google News, which are news item. So according to Google, this is real-time data based on more than 100 billion searches, 100 billion searches being performed every month. So the goal here from Google Trends perspective is that they want to be able to track the stories most people are searching for and where in the world interest is speaking. From a marketing perspective, if you're not using Google Trends, you should definitely use it, because you can start finding out insights and into different types of searches that are happening, right? Into different business verticals, right? So, but with this one, now that they're tracking Google, not only are they tracking just normal searches on Google, on the Google search engine, they're actually tracking on YouTube and Google News. I'm pretty sure that all three areas will definitely provide more information. The other key thing that they did talk about is that they're increasing their breadth and coverage of the data. It's going a little bit deeper into niche topics in smaller geographies. So therefore you can actually do a bit of a deeper analysis of trend data. I'm going to share with you what that new look, not the new Google Trends look, in a second. So let me just share my screen. And if you the website that you should go, I mean, this is a great tool from just competitive analysis, client, if you're doing from a pre-sales perspective, and you want to definitely bring in some trending topics or trending of keywords, etc. You'll be able to track information, and it is international, so you can use it for different countries. So it's not only based on the U.S. You can do some trending on countries like Argentina, Australia, also Canada, Colombia, France, Germany. So they do have a Mexico, which is a great market. They do have a good foundation where you can start using it and definitely getting some trends. So for example, you can write topics. I don't know. I'm just gonna type something that's happening right now, which is Copa America, and then you want to know what's happening and what's trending within that. You can start seeing, what are the news headlines. What you can actually forecast in some cases, and you can do comparisons, right? So you can see that uh, it's a tool that you can use. Another thing that I like to use, for example, is something, when I'm doing, I'm typing in, for example, family law. So, the other day we are doing some competitor analysis for a lawyer, and then I'll choose specifically. I'm not looking at worldwide, but I just want to choose a specific market. So I'll choose Canada. Let me see here. I'm going to go down to Canada. And as you can see, and let's say if I want to search family law versus personal injury, personal, uh, if I want to look at different training that, oops, ran out of term, sorry, just some trainings that are happening right now. Uh, you can definitely see, and I want to focus on Canada. It gives me all the information related to Canada. As you can see, family law terms are, they have a higher search than obviously personal injury law, right? And you can use this. I mean, right now I'm just using a top level keyword, but you can go into a deeper dive, and you can actually look, per region, right? You can see where people are where's the interest over time, and you can actually forecast it. And there's also news headlines if you want. You can actually forecast where things are going, right? Which is a very cool thing to do. So if you're looking at working with a law firm, and they're doing family law versus personal injury law, or let's say personal injury lawyer, let's do that, personal injury lawyer, okay, versus family lawyer. And this is, again, this is a very top level search that's being done. And you can start seeing some, let's take this out. You can do the forecast. You can start seeing that, and you can actually do it by year. So let's say the past 12 months, you can start seeing some of the trends that are happening, right? What are people searching for? And again, you can break it down to town and city. So I'm going to go to Canada, and I think I can go even deeper than that. I'm going to go to Ontario because that's where it is, and you can see that Toronto has the highest. Um, for personal injury and family lawyer, you can see that Toronto and Ottawa are two areas that have a high level of search results, right? In regards to or searches that are happening based on it. In some cases, you can actually they actually give you additional additional keywords. So you can actually tell your client, look, these are some of the searches that are happening right now. Definitely, if you don't believe that the internet's can bring you traffic, and or SEO or paid search can generate traffic, well, you know what? Here is the proof. There is interest, and you can do this for pretty much any industry. So this is a great tool for you to use and explore before doing any proposals, as well as it can help you with some of the keyword terms. Although you know what, Google Trends is very general. I would recommend it more using it from a pre-sales perspective. The other thing is, if you're running a campaign, based on some of the trends that are happening, so you want to know what's happening in the world right now, based on the specific news items. You have, for example, in the U.S. election, prison break that happened in New York a few, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Definitely anything that's what are the trending stories in the world. So this is a great tool for you to use, but you know what, you can also use it for competitive analysis as well. Okay, so they've actually redesigned this homepage also, creating, giving them more user friendliness. Obviously, there's a lot of search terms that are happening right now. I think they cover the top 50, and I mean, you can go on and on and on in regards to that. Okay, so when you have a chance, have a look at it, play with it, get familiarized with it, because it is a very cool tool to use, and I'm pretty sure you'll benefit from it. Okay. So moving forward, like I said, this is where Google sees Google Trends happening. Then there's another one that I wanted to share with you today, and this is Google recently launched what they call Google News Lab, a new home on the web for reporters. So this is a very very specific, let's say, website for uh, for news, and more likely it is designed to be the home for web for reported resources. So it's really a resources section, right? And what they wanted to do, what Google's reasoning, or their goal, was to empower innovation at the intersection of technology and media. Our mission is to collaborate with journalists and entrepreneurs to help build the future of media. So what they want to accomplish with this new initiative, Google News Lab, is three things: easy access to the tools journalists need, providing Google data to journalists everywhere, and launching programs to take advantage of the opportunities that exist in today's media industry. From a marketing perspective, a great way for you to start looking at storylines as well, and for you or for your content writing team to start getting ideas. So they actually, as a matter of fact, Google has also forged new partnerships with a number of companies such as Matter, which is actually a media accelerator in San Francisco, and Hackers, which is a global community group for developers and journalists. And this news lab is available right now in the US, as well as the UK, France, and Germany. And there's going to be more information also coming for Latin America. So they're going to make it also bilingual, and they will continue to expand. But for now, it is US based. But I'm pretty sure that in the next few months, as they continue to improve this new tool, they'll be, or this new resources area, they'll be able to have add additional countries. So let me quickly share with you what this looks like. Again, this is a great tool from a marketing perspective to use with your team. So the address that we have here is newslab.withgoogle.com. I mean, leveraging from these free tools from Google is you got to make the best of it. And you can actually right now select the language, but I believe that right now this is more geared towards those countries that I mentioned: the US, the UK, and France primarily. But you know what? The interesting fact about it is that, look, they have a research section, a reporting section, a distributing section, and optimizing. So it definitely can help, if you are working, for example, for a non-for-profit organization that has news items happening right away. Definitely you can use this tool to leverage from what's happening, in specific areas of the world, to help with the cost. For example, emergency efforts, Also, as well, if your client is related to something that is newsworthy, it could be anything from a new product launch or something to do with a specific vertical. You can definitely use this tool to get more data. Obviously, the backbone of this is Google Trends, but one of the key things that I liked about it was the optimization side, where you can actually gauge the engagement with analytic tools. So it actually shows you how to definitely write compelling stories and how to attract more followers. If you have a chance to review this tool, very cool tool to use. Perhaps some of your clients, if they have any newsworthy items to report on, you can kind of give it a test with this. And again, it's a supporting tool. Okay, it's definitely, they have different tutorials on how to analyze YouTube, how to attract loyal followers on YouTube. Again, this is from a news perspective, but you can also use some of these tools from a marketing perspective, right? Again, I think that was kind of cool. The other thing that I like was their distribution. Looking at Google's distribution tools, right? So very, very, they have a couple of things that you can kind of leverage from, and if you just spend some time on it, you'll probably be able to share that with your client and so on, in order to get the best out of the news items that you may be writing for them. If at all, it's a place where you can grab data, right? So they have obviously based on Google Trends, you can look at data and tools. So another key tool that they've launched recently, and hope that you have a chance to review it and be able to get some insights from them. Okay, so they came up with a lot of things this week. A lot of things happening with Google. And again, I don't want to make our webinar the Google show, but it's just that Google just keeps pumping out information and new updates that we wanted to share with you as well. The other thing that briefly just wanted to let you know is that Google's actually testing new mobile interfaces with a new top design, and they're giving it a bit of a new look on their mobile search results. So here I have two screenshots where Google's testing a more space where the Google logo is centered. Typically, it's here on the side. They've actually posted it. They've added the logo in the middle. For both screenshots, there's more space. It's a little bit cleaner. The search box is also larger, right? And obviously more white space and the blue clean navigation menu. So as you can see, they're trying to clean up the user experience on mobile. So this is also a great step from Google to make that mobile user experience, to improve that mobile user experience. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. It's something that they're testing out, and with the goal to have users be comfortable using their mobile devices and Google as their main browser, or sorry, as their main search engine, right? Excellent. I wanted to share with you an interesting study that was done by the team at Search Engine Watch. One of their writers, I forgot his name, but basically he kind of went out and said, okay, what are the most expensive states for paid search in the U.S., right? And depending on the states you're in, what they mentioned was you could range your cost per click could range from as high as 78% above the national average. So when you're comparing against the national average, all of the states in the U.S., in some cases you could be looking at 78% higher, and in some cases 65% more. I don't want to say cheaper, but you're paying actually less for cost per click. So in this case, you can see that that in the bottom graph that we're showing here, the total increase at a national average in the U.S. for cost per click, and it's rising. Okay, so the cost for advertising on paid search is rising. And what they've actually wanted to share was that this is WordStream. They did this they were part of this this study, they wanted to test desktop, tablet, and mobile advertising. And as you can see, obviously, since January 2012 till around May last year, the rise of paid search has gone up, right? Desktop continues to go in an uphill, and mobile now starting to really trend up as well, right? Now, what they're saying is that many other SEO or other agencies are claiming that CPC costs are declining, but as you can see from this graph, it's quite the opposite, right? So what do you do? Right? If it's getting, if the cost of advertising is increasing, it offers a lot of different opportunities, right? And again, desktop continues to be the most expensive one, but perhaps if you see that desktop continues to be expensive, perhaps shift your funds towards mobile, right? Now, one of the key things that to note is that mobile paid search continues to increase, right? It's still increasing. However, it's lagging way behind. And Google has made, they have shown their I don't want to. They have shown their a bit of disappointment in the fact that they would expect that mobile would have taken off, but businesses are still looking into learning more about mobile advertising, mobile paid advertising. So it hasn't taken off as well as they expected, but it is still much cheaper than desktop. So what you may want to do is perhaps with your budgets, try to pilot some initiatives and focus a little bit more on mobile advertising, because the cost per click is still much cheaper on mobile clicks. Okay, so that's what this study talked about. Now, which are the most and the least expensive states for paid search. So what they did was they went through specific data, 15,000 high volume English search keywords across over 20 industries to find out. So this is what they realized. And if you look at the top 5 most expensive states are Alabama, which is about the average cost per click for Alabama in comparison to the rest of the states, or the rest of the national average. You're looking at paying about 78% more than the average. West Virginia, 60% more. Maine, 48% more. Alaska, 43, and Louisiana, 34% more. So those are the states that if you're running campaigns there right now, this is one of the reasons why perhaps your cost per click is a little bit higher. And you may be wondering why. Well, on average, these are the 5 states that where you're paying most for PPC, right, for paid search. Now, where are those states where you can get a bit of a bargain, or where you can save on your advertising funds and have a leg up? Well, you're looking at South Dakota, Nebraska, Delaware, Rhode Island, and Wyoming. So very interesting data here, because if you look at this, these are not the highest populated states in the U.S., right? I mean, I don't see, for example, California. I don't see Florida. I don't see New York. I don't see Illinois, right? Or Massachusetts, for example, where you have the great hubs, New Jersey State as well, right? So Pennsylvania. So it's very interesting to see that these are the states that are either the top or the lowest. They're kind of like the mid states, right? So that was interesting about this study that was completed. And here's where they actually graph it a little bit more. And I want to see if I can pull this out. If you give me a second, yeah, I probably won't be able to pull it out. I wanted to pull it out into a higher resolution here, but definitely you can see that some of the states here, the U.S. average being the green one. So as a matter of fact, when you look at California, they have the average, but then when you look at Texas, they're 20% greater than US, right? Average. So you can see that that's a state where pay per click you could be paying a little bit more, right? And obviously, what we talked about, Alabama being 80% greater than the U.S. So this is an interesting chart. If you can, you should actually go to Search Engine Watch. They have it there under this title, "Expensive States for Pay Per Click." If you're doing a national campaign and you want to kind of look at some quick wins, low-hanging fruit states where you're promoting a specific product or a service, you may want to kind of double check this if you're doing paid search. So that way you're targeting specific states, and you're leveraging the best way possible from your budget, right? Like you're using your budget wisely, right? So this was an interesting study because I would have thought that, for again, California, Florida, Texas, Illinois, New York State, Pennsylvania State, I would have thought that because of the high level concentration of population, the competition of businesses, those states would have the highest cost per click. But in reality, as you can see, they're not far out. So that was pretty interesting. Again, WordStream, you can probably find more information on WordStream if you were to look into it. So this is what the research also show in regards to identifying trends. Rural areas tend to have higher cost per clicks. Now, the reason they realize that, perhaps, the top 5 most expensive states for paid search aren't part of that, like I said, large metropolitan regions, it's possible because when you're in a rural area, people are going to search local, right? So most of the people are going to search for nearby businesses, and as a result, they're going to bid aggressively to rank well in AdWords, right? This is one of the observations is they made, or assumptions, right? They're making because it's very everything runs on local businesses, right? So they're gonna bid aggressively to rank well in these areas, in these rural areas, right? And the other one is obviously low unemployment rates equals low CPCs. So they also found out that 9 out of the 10 states with the lowest average CPCs also had the lowest average unemployment rates. So here again, what Mark explained was full employment is typically a sign of a lot of businesses in the area, so there's less need for local users to need to turn to Google to fulfill their needs, and advertisers don't need to be as aggressive with their bids, right? So again, very, very, very interesting. And again, one of the third observations they made was that population doesn't correlate to high or low CPCs, which I would have thought this was very key. That if you have a high populated area, your cost per click was going to be high. However, they said that the most populous states fell right in the middle, and not a single one cracked either the top or the bottom 10. So this is likely telling us that many advertisers targeting these regions are doing so in the same campaigns targeting the rest of the nation, driving their average CPCs closer to the national average. So again, I think that out of this study, what I would take if you are in the U.S. and you have a client that's looking at doing some paid search nationally, here are some areas. And you can also advise them. For example, if you have a client who wants to do a campaign, for example, in Alaska, right? Well, you know what? You just be careful. Your CPC there is high. Perhaps let's do some SEO, right? It's going to be much cheaper, and you're saving money, right? So it's good data to have your clients informed. If they wanted to go into South Dakota, great place to advertise, because the cost per click is at its lowest, approximately 65% lower than the US average. So that's very key. So if you want, I'm going to try to share this study with you, so that way you can have a look at it. Just give me a quick second here. I'm going to do it right now. Oh, actually, I don't have it here. Maybe towards the end of the webinar, I'm gonna add that, so that way you can have it. Perfect. Let me just move along here. But you can actually easily go to search engine land, and when you are looking at the news items, or the articles, you'll find one called "The Most Expensive States for Paid Search in the U.S." Okay. For some reason, my mouse is not allowing me to click on it. Okay, perfect. Okay. The other thing is, I wanted to share an interesting article by Search Engine Land in regards to local optimization, and in this case, looking at businesses that have multiple locations across different towns or cities, states, etc. And that's one of the questions that we get at ALM. How do we optimize for multiple locations? What is the best way to optimize? Right now, obviously, internally, we have our best business practices that we follow in order to optimize for our clients. And we've had some great experiences with a few clients in helping them optimize locally. And they may have, for example, a headquarters in let's say New Jersey state or California state, in multiple locations within California or outside of California. How do you optimize? What's the secret to local search success if you have multiple locations? Right now, if you have a single website for a business with multiple locations, you've got to use local content silos. So definitely, you have to set up a great strategy. The writer goes on to say that, for single location business, it's easy because you have an actual location. Now, one of the key things to optimizing multiple locations across different local areas is that you have to have an office, an actual brick and mortar location. That, I think, that's one of the key things, because you can definitely set them up with My Google Business, right? That's very key. So I'm going to talk a little bit as we move forward, but to me, that's a very important factor. Is that if you want to optimize for different locations across different cities or counties or across different states, there has to be a physical location primarily. Okay. So they've come up with this concept called local content silo. So what does that mean? Well, as you know, when you are doing any SEO locally, just for one location, for example, you try to do all of your internal link isolated within one area, right? Within one silo. So you have your blog, you have your informational pages, and typically, if you're just using one geo target, you tend to add the geo target into the optimization component, not just on the meta content, but also on the on page, right? On the actual on page content, you try to add and pepper in your geo target. Now, if you are doing multiple locations, that's when you have to definitely change the strategy a little bit. One of the things that you want to do is you have to look at uh, organizing your information, your content properly, and creating the proper link building strategy related to that location. So I'm going to explain to you in a second with a graph. But the key thing is, while your major product pages should all be internally linked, your local silos are mostly isolated. So each silo should only have internal links with its own silo. So if you're doing, for example, let's say California, and you want to target Los Angeles, San Diego, and Fresno. So all of these three locations have to have a silo. So in reality, you have to have three SEO strategies, right? It doesn't mean you have to treat them a little bit. You're going to have your overall SEO campaign, but each city should have its own campaign, and whatever you're optimizing for each city, for example, should have its own main content area, right? And should also have its own product or service specific information, right? So let me kind of explain to you how that should look like, so you can have a view. Uh, so as you can see here, you have your cities, right? So you have your overall website content strategy, and you have your cities. So you're gonna have blogs written specifically for city one. So if you're let's say a network of physicians in different cities. In, let's say, this is Los Angeles, you want to just focus on writing blog for Los Angeles. You're going to have your own social media strategy for it as well. You're going to have your own Google Places page for it. And you're going to have your also link building strategy for this specific city. Right now, your link building strategy should be very specific to the city. You can have some, let's say, general industry directories, but ideally, the ideal to focus on the city specific is to have local citations and local directories. Okay, so but you have to have local content, and the content has to be unique. You cannot replicate the content that you're writing for city one, change it and put it on city number 6 or 5, because now what you're doing is creating duplicate content. So one of the foundations here is also unique content. Now here are some of the recommendations that were given by this SEO specialist. One of them is offsite signals are incredibly important to the local content silo process. So the Google My Business listing for each location should point to the location page for each silo. Okay, so you want to make sure that you create location pages, specific location pages, and those location pages are structured properly. And within there, you should have the My Google Business listing pointed to that specific location. As a matter of fact, I would even actually go to adding My Google Business badge and the Google Plus badge in essence, and try to just focus on creating content relevant to that location on Google My Business, right? The other thing is you also need to create local blog content for each silo. So as I was saying, you have to create unique content, right? And make sure that the main pages of the silo link to its local blog posts, right? So the hierarchical structure should be you have your top level navigational structure of your website, and then you have your location pages. Once you go in your location pages, you should have within there service pages related to those specific location, and just optimize for that geo target, right? And you want to have blog posts in your blog module pointing back or supporting those specifically pages, geo-targeted pages. Okay. They also talked about the importance of earning some links from other local businesses in each city. Make sure that you're pointing those juicy local links at the corresponding local silo for maximum effectiveness. So in reality, it may be a strategy where, from a link building strategy, you have an overall link building strategy that focuses on the top pages. So let's say the home page, the about us page, those top level pages. Maybe you want to have some very strong related industry directories or a whole link building strategy. Then for each location, you want to have its own link building strategy, right? A part of that link building strategy is looking at other local businesses that are related to your business, where you can do some link earning, right? Again, before you do this, make sure that who's linking back to you and who you're linking back to, they're a clean site, right? That's very important. You don't want to be just having your clients soliciting links to other local businesses, and those businesses have very bad SEO, or they've been penalized in the past, or their URL, their domain name has been penalized in the past. So you don't want to bring any negativity to yours. And the other key thing is, instead of creating a single boring location page for each location, you'll now have a robust silo of unique local information about each city that your business serves. Okay, so it's very important that you do that. So that you have a very strong location page, strong call to action. You have the map, you have specific information about hours of operation, have some content related to that specific city, maybe pictures of the staff for that specific city. You have to optimize your location pages very well. And like I said, it's not bad if you have sub-level pages within there. Right? Now, the only challenge with that is that you may have third level pages, because you have your top navigation, your location pages, and then you have your third level pages. And those should be SEO pages optimized for specific keywords that you want to go after, that you want to optimize for. But they should be all unique, right? Unique information, right? And then on top of that, from a content marketing perspective, on a monthly basis, as you're fueling this engine, have some blogs, articles, videos posted in your blog, and linking back, right, properly to the specific location, right? Creating some internal links in those blogs and pointing them to the internal location. So I know it's a little bit technical, but I just kind of wanted to share because some ICs are always asking us questions in regards to the best way to optimize locally for multiple locations. But if you have any questions, feel free to connect with us. We definitely can give you some of our best business practices. We've had that experience in working with quite a number of projects, and our team kind of follows this process to a certain degree, right? The key thing here, though, from my perspective, just taking on this, is really having that unique content, and the more content you develop individually for each specific location, the better. Now, you don't want to overdo the content because Google's going to realize that, okay, why is this website all of a sudden, publishing 10 pieces of content a month? You have to do it properly and space out your content, right? So when the robots are crawling your website, they realize that it's you're doing it a clean SEO way, and that you're not just creating spammy content or just over populating your site with content for SEO practice. It has to be relevant, right? So far, I mean, I think that if you can look at optimizing for multiple locations, these are some of the top recommendations that I would give based on this specific article. Now, not sure if you have any questions. I know that today, I for some reason I think there was a technical issue with the presentation, but if you have any questions, feel free to connect with us. We'll definitely be in touch with you. I did want to bring just to remind you that we had a great sales and marketing webinar last week with Tom Kuthi. If you haven't heard or you missed it, feel free to go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WSIALM. We have the presentation there. If you want to listen to the presentation again and see some of his best business practices that he shared with us, definitely, you can find it in our YouTube channel. So I wanted to bring that to your attention as well. Again, a little bit about us. You know a little bit more about our services and what we're offering. Definitely don't forget to rate us in K2 and give us some feedback in regards to this webinar. Thank you for coming, for being part of this webinar today, and hopefully we'll see each other next week. I don't see any questions right now, so that's great. But feel free to email us and connect with our team at any moment in time throughout the week. Take care. Have yourself a great week. Bye bye. Oh, actually, I do have. Oh, thank you, Paul. Pablo, thank you. Take care. Bye bye.